payment deadline, that's midnight on September 3rd, 2020. So we have a website now. That's something that we're really going to start using a lot. So if you go to ksubap.com and then you go to store, this is where you can pay your dues. So yeah, once again, September 3rd is the deadline for that. Then resume book submission. Once you get your resumes reviewed today, or if you already have a final copy, email it to ksubapresumes@gmail.com by September 4th.
I'm sorry, I'm going to include this here. You're only sending your resume if you are seeking employment.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, we don't want to just fill out the book with a bunch of resumes where people's already had jobs. When the recruiters look at it, we want them to be able to actually know that students are searching for a job.
Also, I'll add that you don't need to send your transcripts to KSU BAP Advisor if you are applying for FBIS. I do need your transcripts for candidates and members.
Okay. And then another important date, this is going to kind of be like every week, is the night before an event, look out for a link to the meetings. Just like yesterday, we sent them at 5 o'clock. We're going to be doing that going forward. So
Peter,
because,
you have a hand raised, or we did. Who was that? Nicole and Cody?
Yeah, so if you send the transcript, does it have to be an official one, or can I just send a screenshot? Because I know official ones cost like $5 to send.
Screenshot is fine.
Okay, cool.
No problem.
Cody, did you have a question too?
Yes, ma'am. You said do not submit a resume if we already have employment. But if we do have employment, but we're interested in doing something part-time, or I think somebody said work from the bench or bullpen or something along those lines.
Yeah, so PB&J is going to be something completely different. You would that's a project bench and jobs where you kind of want to get that part-time employment. You can actually apply for that program through the Handshake app or Handshake website. For this, if you are looking for part-time employment, I think that's okay to submit your resume, but in your objective, which we will cover here in just a moment, in your objective, I would encourage you to put that you're looking for part-time employment during fall 2020 or spring 2020, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? So we'll cover that objective, but just make sure that's clear, and then you can submit your resume to the resume book too.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. It looks like we've got another hand, Peter. I'm so sorry, but these are good.
Okay, no problem.
Holly?
I'm sorry, I missed this. So if we're a member and we were a member last semester or whatever, we still need to send our transcript?
Yes, please.
Okay, and to beta office I reported at Gmail?
No, KSU BAP Advisor at gmail.com. I'll type it out in the chat box.
Okay, thank you.
And so just to be clear, anybody that was a member and is wanting to come back and to participate this semester, you do want to still fill out an application, you want to pay your dues, and you want to send that transcript to the KSU BAP Advisor email.
And just so y'all know, this is Professor Shoemate. I'm the one monitoring that email, so nobody else is looking at your transcripts but me.
Good call.
And Nicole, you can print, instead of taking a screenshot, you can like print the whole thing as a PDF. I'll show you how to do it. Like, let's say this page is your transcript. You would just highlight the whole thing and then do Command Print. And then it'll say, you could send it to a printer, but you should have an option where you can save it as a PDF. And then, yeah, so it just might make it easier rather than taking a bunch of screenshots. And then that's what your transcript would look like.
Thank you, Peter.
Yep, no problem.
Also, guys, once your question is answered, will you lower your hand so that we can keep watching for new hand raises? Thank you.
It looks like Amanda's asked a question in the chat, Nicole.
Regarding resumes and not sending it if you're not seeking employment, does this also apply if you're seeking an internship? So if you're seeking anything, like if you're looking for a summer leadership program, an internship, a part-time job, a full-time job, you can put it in the resume book. We would love to have it. And we'll go over the objective statement in a minute, but we just want for your objective to be clear in your resume. Does that answer your question, Amanda? Good, perfect, that did. And Nicole, do you have another question?
It's not letting me put my hand down. I'm using my phone.
Oh, well, I wonder if I can lower
I'm
it
not
for
sure
you.
what
I'm
to
gonna lower it for you, how about that? The floor is yours, Peter.
Okay. So because of COVID-19, things are obviously going to be a lot different. So the PD events, they're all going to be online throughout the fall semester. Once again, this can all be on the website, or it's all going to be on the website. If you go to ksubap.com/schedule, this is what you'll see. And then the forms to sign up for an event will be posted there too. So you'd click the form, and then do you plan to attend this event? So then a couple of the CS events will be in person, and then one of them will be virtual. So here's some frequently asked questions or the answers to them. So you can do up to 4 hours of community service on your own, and you can do up to 4 hours of professional development on your own. You'll receive a warning if you miss one required meeting, but you'll be placed on probation or become ineligible for initiation if you miss a second one. Once again, FBIS or associates, there's no mandatory attendance for you. Then a lot of people have asked about why we require a 2-semester commitment. The reason we do that is so we don't have students who come, join BAP, get a job, and then leave the organization right after. We want you to stick around and be a mentor for the future members. So for communication between the executive board and members, once again, going back to the website, we'll be posting updates on ksubap.com under the news section. The GroupMe, I want to let everyone know that's not an official method of communication. Don't believe everything you hear on it. If anything's unanswered by the website's news updates, then email ksubapsecretary@gmail.com for an official response. And then since it's the resume review, I just have some quick advice from my own experience. And your bullet points, highlight your soft skills. They love to see things like leadership, especially. Definitely include a computer proficiency section, or you could call it technical skills. It doesn't matter, but they're going to want to see Excel on there. Then a third piece of advice is customize the resume. I know a lot of people say not to do it, but you just have to be careful to not submit the wrong one to the wrong firm. But I definitely recommend customizing it for the firm that you're applying to. They seem to love it. For an example of what you can do, you can integrate the firm's slogan into your objective. Then another quick tidbit of advice is there's a book called The 48 Laws of Power, and I recommend reading that book. That book will help with just about everything. Then here's the executive board for this year. And then here are staff advisors.
Peter, can you go back to the executive board real quick?
Yep,
I do
sure.
just want to give all of you guys a huge thank you, and I want to tell all the members that are on the call that with this transition of moving to a virtual environment and getting this website up and running and all the things that went on, these individuals have spent so much more time this year trying to get ready for this than we ever have in the past. So I am so thankful, and you guys should be too. I'm really hoping it's going to be successful and amazing. We do have some questions in the chat. Oh, okay. So the question is, if we do community service or PD hours on our own, how would we submit that? This is a really great question. To be honest with you, this is something that me and the EC board really need to talk about, because with everybody not having access to paper and scanners and things, guys, I think we need to translate those forms, those paper forms, into an electronic document of some sort. I had a student ask this already this week. So guys, these forms will end up on that KSU BAP website, and the EC team will help us get that all set up. And if we graduate in the fall, are we eligible for membership? Well, if you graduate in the fall, you mean December? Kennedy, take your mute off and tell me what you're, yes, okay. So yes, you are eligible to become a member. You will be a candidate at the beginning of the semester. And then if you meet all of the requirements that are set out, then you will be inducted as a member right before you graduate. So you'll get your induction pins and your cords to walk across the stage all at the same time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody have any other questions about all the stuff that Peter presented? If not, I did want to just kind of tell you guys about a few things that will be taking place on campus, because there's so much communication going on right now. If you were invited to the Top Owl Connect, I would love for you to participate in that. Only if you're seeking some sort of employment, like an internship, full-time job, part-time job, something of that nature. It is a special opportunity for you to get in front of these recruiters. So if you think you want to participate and you didn't get the email, email me and I would be happy to help you. Also, next Thursday is the Internal Audit Awareness Day. I encourage everyone to go and participate in this event. It is virtual, you have to register, but it's going to be cool because these big name companies are going to come, and it's not a career fair. You don't bring your resume. They're just going to tell you all about what they do in their role. And I think it's going to be pretty awesome. And then lastly, Moore Colson is doing a virtual social next Friday before our Beta Alpha Psi meeting. You do have to register because obviously you have to obtain a meeting link, but we'd love for you to attend that. And then the last little tidbit of news that I have is that APRIO is seeking a full-time tax employee right now. And that means that none of y'all can do it. But what it does mean is that you might know a friend that graduated this summer or this spring that had not found employment, and BAP students, y'all are the best. So if it's your friend, I would think that they would be a great opportunity for this job. So if you know somebody that might be interested, just share the word and tell them to email me their resume, and then I can get them connected for that. It looks like we do have another question. For community service, if we were unable to participate in an in-person event due to health conditions, how should we go about getting our 8 hours virtually? So this has been a big question, like ever since school started. The great thing is we do have one virtual event, and I'm hoping that everybody will be able to attend this. It's called Shannon Junior Achievers. Yeah, yes. And
Yep.
It's going to be cool because they typically, what would happen is these like middle school and elementary school kids would come in and they would actually try to run a city, and we would help them do that. And so you'd sit at a bank or at a company or whatever, and you'd help kind of like facilitate this, but they are committed to still doing this in a virtual setting for these students. And so we are going to be part of that process. So look on the calendar. That's an 8-hour event. So that would get all your hours right there. We also have a couple other virtual items that will take place, like writing letters for nursing homes. There was, oh, Peter, we were supposed to announce the stars.
The stars?
The KPMG stars thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So before the meeting's over, I will look up those details and I'll announce it. That is a virtual opportunity, but it has to be done by next week. They extended the deadline literally just for KSU students.
It was due today, but our students can submit by next Friday.
Yeah. So it's extended until next week. So let me get all those details pulled up so we can share it before the end of the meeting, because that is another virtual community service event as well.
And then we're still doing the tutoring session, right? That'll be a virtual event.
Yeah, I think that's still going to be great. And then another question in the chat was about PD and wanting to know, Peter, have we selected any events that will be mandatory? Because we did have a bunch of those last year. I don't think we have. I think just you select whatever 10 hours. We'd love for you to participate in everything because we want you to be here with us, but
the banquet will be mandatory, but that's it, right?
Yeah, the banquet is mandatory for members, not FBIS and not candidates that don't meet the requirements. But if you meet the requirements and you're a member, but the banquet will be a mandatory event. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that worked out. Well, good. Oh, we have a hand raised. Liz, go ahead and chat with us.
Yes, I was just wondering, can you explain exactly how the process works? Like, because I was assuming that a candidate was somebody who did not meet the requirements but could still come to the meetings. And then once you can meet all the requirements, you're a member. Is that right? Or like, would I be considered a member already? Or is there a process? How's that work?
It's such a good question. I'm going to let Peter answer it, but this is one that we get that's super confusing for most people. So Peter, just clearly go over the difference between candidate, member, and FBIS.
Okay. So essentially you have to become a candidate before you can become a member. So the requirements to become a candidate are the same requirements to become a member regarding the whole GPA thing, because before you can be a member, you have to be a candidate. Now, if you don't meet any of those requirements, then you can be FBIS. So assuming that you're not a member yet, you'd have to be a candidate for this semester.
So how long are you a candidate before you're a member?
1 semester.
Oh, okay. Well, if I'm a candidate for this semester and then I become a member, I would only have 1 semester available before I graduate.
So your candidacy counts as 1 semester.
Okay.
And then you would have another one. This really applies more to the students that start really early in their academic progress, because what we were having was sophomore students that would come and try to join BAP, and then they would get a job and then they would just disappear. And the reality is we don't want that. We want you guys as members to stick around, be the upperclassmen, mentor, give supportive feedback in the meetings. There's so much value of you guys staying on more than 1 semester, like more than just your candidacy semester. So that's the real reason for the way that's set up with the 2 semester requirement.
Okay. And one other quick question. You guys were talking about your community service. Would donating platelets or blood be considered a community service? Especially
I would definitely say so. And all you would need to do is get some sort of information from someone there that can be our point of reference. So the way we ensure that the community service is valid if it's not done through us, is that we can either call, or we've had some sort of paper signing off that you did it. Maybe you have a piece of document that says you did do it and how much time it took for you to do it. But we just need something just to ensure that, you know, you actually did the action.
Yeah, I haven't donated platelets since the pandemic started, but that's over a 2-hour process. So it's kind of like, but I'm going to go back to doing it since I had to break quarantine to go to school.
So I do want to say about that, though, donating blood is a really awesome way to do non-BAP community service hours. So as we talk about, some community service are required to be BAP. This would be a non-BAP, and you would be responsible for submitting those to the reporter email. But it sounds like we might be switching that to a Google Doc. So give us a little time, but save your documentation and make sure you submit it for your time.
In the meantime, there's oh, sorry, go ahead.
Someone else asked, well, yeah, I was going to say, just following up on the chat here, is I know we have PD and CS events. Do we still have weekly meetings from 2 to 4? And so the answer is pretty much every Friday we have something, but there's some that are off. So it's not like an every Friday thing. You just need to watch the schedule, and depending on the Friday will depend on if it's a PD event or a community service event. And we do and have done in the past, and we may or may not this fall, we haven't talked about it yet. We have done a couple social events where it literally did not count for any BAP hours or anything. It was just for camaraderie basis. But with this virtual environment, we haven't planned any of those. So at this point, what we're hoping you're going to engage in is the PD and community service events that's offered through the schedule. Right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, Peter?
Oh, yeah. So if somebody wants to do non-BAP hours before we get the Google form up, you can find the PDF for that on our website. It's at ksubap.com/resources. And the name of the document is non-BAP hours form. So just fill that out. In the meantime, we're going to try to make Google Forms for it, but just use that PDF in the meantime.
Okay, and before we move on to the panel discussion with the employers, I was going to throw up one example resume and just hit some highlights, and then we're going to let the employers really take the questions on. But before we do that, is there any other hand that needs to be raised or question that needs to be in the chat? We want to make sure you truly do understand what our organization is and what the requirements are, and we want you to be successful because we want all of y'all to be members. Okay, well, that sounds good. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. I have an example resume. It is from a student at UGA that I have redacted all of their, can you see it? Yes, yes. So they have redacted I've redacted their address and stuff, but this is a really great example. It is
Nicole,
super
will you
clean.
make it bigger?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Better?
Yep.
Okay. So one of the things I really love is that it's super clean. I love the lines. It really makes it super easy to read. One of the things we have gotten feedback about is that you really don't need to put an address on here anymore. So you could probably just skip that altogether, put your name, your phone number, your email, maybe a LinkedIn address would be good. The next thing is this objective statement. And so this is the part that, in my opinion, is very important, especially during this virtual environment, and there's going to just be so many moving pieces, is you want to tell the recruiter exactly what you're looking for. And something very simple. Don't use a bunch of fluff of like, I'm the most amazing person in the world. But we want it to just be, I'm seeking an internship in XYZ time period. The other things I think are really important is the GPA is on here. I think in your intent, so right here in the middle of education, it says intend to pursue a master's of accounting. It may not be your master's, but if you're intending to pursue any sort of certification like the CIA or the CPA, that would be really something great to put on here. I always encourage the dates to be on the right hand, so nothing really down the middle. And then the other thing that I think is very important is try to put something else at the bottom that kind of describes who you are and what you've done with your free time. College is literally the #1 time where you're going to have the most free time. And I know that you guys are all like, yeah, right. But I'm serious. It only gets tighter. And we know you've done more than just go to class and go home. So filling in something here will show them who you are, what your interests are, and that you believe that the world's a little bigger than just you. So that's my 2 cents on the resume here. And I'm going to let whoever wants to lead the panel discussion for our recruiters take over so that they can give you all the goods.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. So I have the questions here. So, let's see. So question #1 is, what's the overall purpose of a resume in your opinion?
Wait, but do that, Peter. We want them to introduce themselves and where they're from, so all the students know who they are.
Okay, good idea.
Do you want us just to go, or do you want to announce us, or how do you want to do it?
Haley, why don't you introduce them? I saw that face.
I'm nervous. Okay, so you can go first, Jamie.
I'm Jamie Burak, and I'm the Human Resources and Recruiting Manager at Williams, Naderman Libby. We're a mid-sized firm in the perimeter area.
Jane, you want to go next?
Sure. Hey, I'm Jane Gilbert, and I am the campus recruiter for Carrigs and Ingram. So our largest office is in Atlanta in the perimeter area also, but we are across 10 states as well.
Ashley?
She may not have joined us.
I saw her join right at the beginning.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Ashley Berry, and I'm the Human Resources Manager for HLB Gross Collins. Can everybody hear me and see me?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And so yeah, we're located in the Smyrna Vinings area. We have 2 offices, and there's one near Kennesaw as well. So.
And then we have Catherine.
Hi. Sorry, it looks like I'm in the dark, but my cleaning people just showed up, so I had to make a quick exit. I am with Cherry Beckert, and my partner Luis is also on the phone. We are a regional firm throughout the Southeast, all the way across to Austin, Texas, and we go up as far north as Rhode Island. And we are located in Midtown. I'm a tax partner, and Luis is on the assurance side. And you should all join Beta Alpha Psi. We like that. It worked well for me.
Luis, would you like to say something too?
Kat runs the show in Atlanta. If you guys haven't put that. I just wanted to let it be known I'm dressed down today because at 5 o'clock I'm getting pied in the face for the Georgia food fight. So we tripled our goal as an office, and so there's Kat. And there's 5 of us. Kat may still figure out a way to get out.
I demanded a recount.
I know. She asked if they, and I said, well, I sent them out. So anyway, so just letting you know why I'm dressed down today. It's for our day, and I'm dressed to get pied in the face by about 10 people.
You still look pretty dressed up to be pied in the face.
I agree.
It's good to see you either way. I want to see pictures of this pieing, though. That needs to happen.
We did that last year as part of our accounting food fight process. Now we have a partner getting his legs waxed, so instead, yes.
Kat, we won't go to that level. So
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, well, you might be. I'm not.
No one would choose me.
But Nicole, the real get that you want to get is, we just did the partner in charges all did a video for our 73rd anniversary, and let's just say I have a red wig on and high heels at some point in time.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see it. Where can I find that?
You need it, Kayla. You should probably hit up Kayla and see our campus recruiters, Kayla, and so she may be able to get it for you.
Okay, I'll email her right now. All right, Peter, take away the questions.
Okay. So question number 1, what's the purpose of a resume?
And you may have to direct them because with it being virtual, it's kind of strange for people to jump in, Peter. So you may have to kind of like guide the conversation.
Okay. Like, should we just go in the same order that they introduce themselves? Okay.
Sure, we could do that. So
Okay.
So really the purpose of a resume is a snapshot of your background and experience, kind of putting your best foot forward, letting the recruiters know, what you're looking for, what you've done, what your education is, GPA, that type of thing. So it really helps us to get to know you a little bit on paper, and that gives us a little bit of an idea, so that we have some background information when we engage in a conversation with you. So it kind of gives us some of the basics, from that standpoint.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add to that is it's basically the structure is some standard statistics that we need. Like we need to know where you're going to school and when you're graduating and GPA and all that good stuff. But it's really up to you to kind of design it to show off the best parts of yourself. And so that, you might be a school person, like have all of your effort into that GPA, show us how you're spending the time, tell us about projects. You might be not the best test taker, but you are working through school or something like that. We want to know what you're doing with your time.
Hi, this is Ashley. And another thing, it's everything that Jamie and Jane just mentioned, but it's also a form of record keeping. So when you've submitted your resume, it is a reference for me. Like we may have met briefly, but when I go back and I look at your resume and I look at the notes, it puts together this story again for me about who you are and things I remember. I mean, it'll revive my memory of meeting you. So it's also a record. So I like to point that out. We go back and look at your resumes all the time, trying to find good candidates.
I think the only thing that I would add to what everybody has said is that it's also a good way to kind of discern what people's interests are and find a good match. If you have somebody that's really interested in, nonprofit work and they've spent a lot of time volunteering, then maybe they're a good fit to work in audit or tax on our nonprofit side. Or, international, there's, various kind of subspecialties and industries within what we do. And I think that's a good way to kind of marry people's interests or what people think their interests might be with, the needs and the jobs that are available.
Yeah, there's not much left by the end. But I mean, I think just to convey what everybody says, right? I mean, you want to kind of maintain it to a single page, right? Well organized, but really explain like what you've done and where you're going, right? So to some of the points that Nicole said, right? If you're going to be a CISA or you're going to go get your exam or you're in the process of that. I mean, those are the questions when you come up to us and you ask us, we're going to go, what's your plan? How many hours you have? How are you going to get your 150? And not everybody's trying to get, do that same thing. So some of that information can get there on that resume to other people's point. When we get back and we start going through all the resumes, it helps kind of remind us of, oh yeah, we met them, they're doing this is what they're doing. Because I know that you guys may not realize it, but there's just for us, for Atlanta, it's University of Florida, University of South Carolina, UGA. We added Kennesaw this year. So just because, it's it's a great place. I'm a double owl, so I'll call it. I'm a double owl. So and I sit on the board. So we're excited to be on campus.
I think you're muted, Peter.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. So what makes your resume stick out, and how can someone leave a good impression?
So I think, from my perspective, a clean, well-organized resume, very similar to what Nicole, showed on her screen, I think, is what I personally am looking for. I, think that for certain types of jobs, people do some of the more fancy types of things with different colors and that type of thing. Others here on the panel may differ than this, but I'm not really into that. I want to see, clean. I want to see bullet points. I want to see the lines. I want to see dates. That type of thing is really what's going to make it stand out to me. If it's going to be easy to read, if I know what it is that you're looking for, that's certainly helpful from my standpoint. So I don't necessarily look for something out of the ordinary, but I'd be curious to hear what others, what their take is on that.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you on the going overboard on the graphics. We're not a magazine or anything, so we don't really need, I mean, it does stand out, but it does make me wonder at my first impression, is the meat of the resume in there, or is this all show? So I think it's, important to find the key information really easily, and that has a lot to do with consistent formatting. Make sure all your dates are aligned and things like that. Your job titles are formatted the same way, and then the companies are formatted the same way. And I also love to see something that's unique to you, like ask me about blank is a fun one that I've seen lately. So something a little more personalized.
I go back to what Jamie said earlier. I prefer seeing resumes without the different colors or the calligraphy and the name and everything at the top, or the or in the format. Another thing is that I would suggest do not put your picture on there, and that's for several reasons. Some of them are HR reasons and other reasons, but I'd suggest leaving your picture, a photo of you, off your resume. I still see that sometimes. And it goes, I definitely think the brief, concise resume that was mentioned earlier is what is preferred. And definitely list your school activities. That's really stands out to me. Like, I like to see that at this point in your career, I know you don't have a lot of positions on there. So, your various positions that are non-accounting related are good. So we can see that you've been working or what you've done. But if it's taking up too much room and you can't keep it on one page, just keep those simple and elaborate on your school activities. That shows me that you've been active and having leadership skills, or working in different, volunteering for different clubs. So that's what I prefer to kind of focus on the resume, is what you're doing now in school. But that may not be every recruiter. That's just.
Yeah, I got the high five from Kat, because the cleaning crew is affecting her ability to speak right now, and I'm sure she's excited that I shared that. I'm a sharer. So it's easy, right? I mean, I think simple, to the point, and just hit the bullet points. That's always the best. I mean, not just color. I mean, I've on Kennesaw's campus, I've taken a resume where they put perfume on it, and so that's another thing that was, for a while, it was a thing. I can't tell you anything about that resume other than it was pink and it had perfume on it, and that's what I remember.
I have told that story in Beta Alpha Psi every year Luis, but I thought, so I may have been telling the story wrong. I thought the student had so much cologne on that when they put the resume against them, it like translated over to it. But yes, please, no sense.
The stinking perfume was from Legally Blonde. A pink
Oh, yeah, I
resume with
remember that.
perfume on it. It's on Legally Blonde, like the movie.
Yeah.
I would suggest putting nothing on there that somebody could potentially be allergic to and cause a breakout.
Well, in this virtual environment, I don't think we're going to be handing over anything this semester at least. So I guess we're all safe from that.
So one of the students has a question. She wants to know if listing school and individual projects is a good idea if you don't have much work experience.
That was from me, just a suggestion.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it is a really great suggestion because students always have that question, like, what do I put on there? I would definitely just try to tie back something great you did in that course. So like if you led a project or if you did something really great in the course, I would just try to tie that back to it. The other thing is, I'm just gonna throw this out there, is I get this from students all the time. Well, I only worked at Quick Trip as a cashier. I say put it on there. You had to show up on time. You had to be managed. You still had to follow procedures. You had to have customer service. There's so many things in that environment that could translate. So please don't downplay your jobs. These employers, they know that you aren't full-time employees. So that's my 2 cents on that one.
Well, and I think that's particularly important too. I mean, it's important regardless, but when someone's working while they're in school, I mean, that's even that says a lot to me. When someone, regardless of the job, if they're working while they're in school, then absolutely make sure it's on there.
Err on the side of telling us how you're spending your time. We want to know that you're not just sitting at home doing nothing.
So here's another question. What do you think of cover letters? Are they necessary, and whom should I address the cover letter to?
In my opinion, cover letters are not necessary. I think that if you tell us on your resume, the basics that we've talked about, you let us know what it is that you're looking for. Most of us, if not all of us, are really not going to take the time to read a cover letter, particularly if it's a lengthy cover letter. We're just inundated with a lot of resumes and things, and usually, and I don't take the time to do it. So, my preference would be, to see a nicely laid out resume, and for us, a transcript as well is kind of what we look for, and we really don't ever ask for a cover letter.
We're actually in the opposite camp. I read them pretty regularly, and I think that's probably me just being super like methodical. I can't let it go,
She's a language person too, though.
That's true. But I think it helps. It depends on the method of contact. Like if it's a cold call sort of situation, you can put in a very short cover letter that says, hi, I'm new to town and looking for this role, or whatever, whatever your reason for reaching out is, and then just say, please reach out to me. To me, it looks like an extra step of care, but I agree that there are situations when I'll see a resume where, you don't meet the qualifications, or this is not the type of applicant that we can hire right now, then I'm not going to spend the time to read that cover letter. But if it's somebody that I'm on the fence about, I'm definitely going to read the letter, and it can make a difference.
So we also have another question from a student that I think is amazing, and I'm going to let you guys recruiters take the answer here. If you are a non-traditional student with lots of work experience and not as much school activities, how much of each older job should you add or is it necessary considering that the degree you're seeking doesn't really apply to the old work or the new work that you're going to be doing? I know it's always said to keep it to 1 page, but if you have this previous experience, then does that change the game? And so I think it's a great question. I'm going to let you guys take it from there.
I've seen 2 approaches to that where they do at least allow the bridge of when they graduated their first degree. And, you know, there's not a lot of detail under each job, right? Until you get closer to like their current job, right? And then in their current job, they add a lot more detail of what kind of skills, you know, management, organization, whatever you can correlate to what your new position that you're applying to. And then again, I've seen it where they just put the last 1 or 2 jobs. But I do like the bridge. If you can, you know, you bridge, because you can, from that perspective too, you can see length of employment, you know, things that we're taking away from that when we're looking at it.
Yeah, I would agree with Luis. I mean, I personally like the approach where you kind of bridge the former education and career to the new one, just so that I can get a sense of you know, history and that type of thing. But, you know, if the prior jobs really, you know, the duties and responsibilities that you had really have no you know, relevance, then, you know, you can be very brief on those. Maybe, you know, the more recent ones give a little bit more detail or something like that. But, you know, I do like to kind of know kind of where a person comes from and kind of how they got from whatever it was to where they are today, and what they're, you know, looking to do, you know, with this new career. So that's my preference.
You had another question directly to you, which was regarding cover letters. A separate Word document cover letter or just an introduction paragraph in the email? What specifically would you prefer?
So it really depends on, like I said, the mode of contact. Either one works. The main thing, especially if you don't have an objective on your resume, it's important that we know what you're looking for. It also helps, like if it's part of, I guess this would be an objective instead, but if you're part of a resume book, it's important to include an objective so we know what you would be looking for if we don't have the application. If it's sort of a cold application, it really helps to sort of introduce yourself and just tell us who you are beyond the stats. So it doesn't have to be long at all. That can be, you'll find online the term a cover email, which would be maybe 3 to 5 lines version of a cover letter. Or you can do the more traditional cover letter, which if you're going that route and applying to a lot of things, I would recommend putting together one thing that's pretty widely applicable and then just addressing it specifically to the different roles. But proofread that. I do see letters come in addressed to other firms, so that's something to pay attention to.
That's never good. That can't be good, right?
Not really.
So we're almost out of time. I guess now is a good time to split up into your breakout room if you have the resume review scheduled. You should have gotten an email last night if you did sign up for it with the link to the room as well as the time you're supposed to enter the room. So the first people going, they'll start their review session at 3:06, so in about 8 minutes. And also, once again, like check your junk mail if you didn't get it. Also, the email was sent out yesterday at 5 o'clock, so you might just not see it yet.
So I also would like to just say that the room that we're in is going to stay live and open, and this is the waiting room. So if you're not in the resume review, you can be here. We can talk about BAP questions, or we could even talk about those interview questions that y'all asked earlier. We could talk about just anything in this waiting room. So this is where we want you to be if you're not getting your resume reviewed, because again, we want you to get your PD hours for getting this professional development. The other thing is I would love for anybody to raise their hand if they do not know when they're scheduled for a resume review, or if they need to be scheduled, because many of you guys emailed me after the deadline or after the cutoff for the registration for the meeting. And so if you do not have a resume review time, please raise your hand on here so that we can then kind of assign you to where you're going to go and who's going to chat with you and who's going to review. The other thing that I have out there is when you get into your own resume review rooms, I want you to remember to put your camera on. I want these recruiters to see you and be able to talk to you. You can share your document in the chat of that room, or you can share your screen. And then the other courtesy thing is if you step into the resume review room and the person in front of you is not finished, please just sit there quietly and let them wrap up before you just like, it's my turn. Does anybody else have any questions about breaking into your groups? Okay.
I would do a plug for Nicole though. All the videos that she's been doing with the recruiters. I know our campus recruiter will be. I think her video is coming up. But
coming out Wednesday. This upcoming Wednesday.
But I know some of the people on here also did videos, and there was some good information on those videos to talk about this virtual process and how we're thinking through things. I mean, we're doing virtual office visits where our production team's going to put together videos and those type of things. So just it's just a different world. So there's a lot of good information on those videos if you haven't gone to see them.
I will actually throw that link into this chat too, guys, so that if you guys want to pull it up while you're kind of hanging out in the waiting room, I can do that as well. All right. Well, employers, you have to exit this room and then click your second link to step into your second room. Deal? Okay. Okay, Peter, we've got lots of questions over here in the chat, which we need to address. But first, I think before we get on some topics, what about we try to figure out where the non-scheduled people are going? And you have the list. So look and see if someone has their hand up. Maybe you already scheduled them and they just don't know where they're going. That could be an option, right? Or if they have not gotten a schedule, let's go ahead and assign them. And then once we get through that, everybody, if you'll just be patient through this little process, then we'll go to all your questions and talk about some other fun things while we're here.
So Jackie Riggins, okay, I guess she doesn't need it anymore.
Yeah, I just saw it. It was in my junk email. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay, Daniel, I'm gonna assign you a room right now. You're gonna be going at 3:36 p.m. I'll send you the details on it. Just bear with me.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
I'm gonna throw this out there that Daniela, Nicole, and maybe she meant Alexis, I'm not quite sure, but y'all are scheduled to be with Ashley Berry at some point, and she says she does not have your resume, so just be ready to show it to her via the chat or by sharing your screen. Okay, guys, she just sent me an email.
Hi, sorry to interrupt. I can't get into the rooms. Like I clicked on the link to resume review and I couldn't get in.
That is a problem. So
Louise can get in either. It keeps giving me a message saying I don't have the app.
Oh, that's weird.
Yes.
Let me send you, I have all the links here on my screen.
Okay.
And so I can email them to you guys. And let me just try to see if I can pull it up. Give me 1 second now.
Yeah, Kat's like, is it for you? I was like, nope.
So I have y'all's links. Can Haley or Peter tell me who's in 1 and who's in 2? The Cherry Becker room 1 and who's in Cherry Becker room 2?
Haley would know.
Haley?
Holly's in
No pressure, Haley.
So Holly's the first one in one room, and Kennedy's the first one in the other room.
Yep.
Hey, Blake, if you have any other questions, we're just going to let them sort through this and then we'll be able to answer those questions. I know you asked something up above, so.
Oh, darn it. I saved the links as a PDF, but now they don't want to hyperlink. So give me 1 second.
Anyway, you guys, somebody can tell the people that are waiting that we're not ignoring them.
Oh, yeah. Can someone step into the other room's EC board and tell them that they're coming?
What type of, yeah, I will. What type of browser are you opening it in? Can you try opening it in Chrome?
Yeah, we do. That's what we have.
Okay, and it's making you get the app?
Well, I don't.
It's just saying we
that's
don't have
the error
to
message, but we literally use this all day.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we use the first link, right, and it brings us in here. The second one just says you don't have Teams, and so that's all it does is it prompts us. It says you don't have Teams.
Okay.
You sent me the links. Yes. Here we go. I've got them. Okay. All right. You guys are getting an email right now with room 1 and room 2 links.
All right, now I'm gonna leave you in the chat a snippet of the video picture, Nicole.
Oh, I'm
All right,
loving it.
I'm out. I'm going to go talk.
I love it. Okay. Does anybody know if we have at least one person in each room now?
I'm still wondering which room I should go to.
Okay.
Oh, is that Daniel? Yeah,
No,
I'm
this
sending.
is Austin Thursday.
Austin.
Did you sign up for one yet?
No, I didn't. I got caught up with work last night. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll get you a room in just 1 second.
Also, so I'm allowed to do community service while I'm a candidate this semester, right? I don't have to do it beforehand before joining, right? I do it while I'm a candidate, correct?
You're doing, yeah, you're doing your community service and your professional development hours during this semester while you're a candidate. Okay. And then when the end of the semester comes, you need to have met your hours. And then if you did, then you'll be inducted as a member.
Gotcha. I'm fine with community service.
I feel like I should be helping in some manner.
Yeah, it's like all on my desktop, so there's not much. I guess just continue to answer questions. That'd be awesome.
Okay, cool. Then while you sort the rooms, I will look at the other chat questions. And if you guys have other questions about BAP or about other things, resumes, whatever, we can go through. I'm going to try to go up and see what we missed. So I feel like, does anyone have, okay, so one of the questions was, does anyone have a memorable interview and what did they do right or wrong to make it such? This is such a good question for the recruiters and not for me. But I do have one where I walked out, and it was early on, right when I graduated my undergrad. And I remember leaving there being like, I talked way too much. So I recommend everybody, you want to make your answers. Have you done that before, Katie? Shannon, have you done that before?
Yeah.
I swear, I feel like I remember it specifically. And I'm like, I probably didn't even answer his question, right?
Yeah.
So you do on the interview, just remember to answer the question, be concise, but not super short. You want to also share a little bit of who you are, but also don't talk their head off. They're not your best friend.
Austin, I'm sending you yours right now. So you'll be at 3:36 p.m.
So Blake is asking about the outlines, which meeting will be required. So I think we mentioned that a little earlier. I don't think we made any of them required for the semester, except for that final event, which will be the banquet, which, by the way, Nicole, is going to be virtual this semester, just again for safety reasons. But you will just need to make your hours. So just make sure you're scheduling your own schedule with BAP to cover the requirements.
Well, the only other one, after I said that, Katie, then I almost went back and was going to say, darn it, because the meet and greet with all the partners probably should be a mandatory event, because that is the one access to every single recruiter that has contributed to BAP.
When is that one?
Do what?
When is that meeting?
That is September 11th.
Okay.
And that's kind of what that meeting's going to look like, is going to be like a round robin, like what we've done well, it's been a while because we didn't do it last fall. So it was 2 falls ago where we did a round robin style, where it's kind of like speed dating. You break all the students out into small groups and they get to talk to one employer for like a certain amount of time. I think the last time it was 7 minutes. And then we like rang a bell like a minute before they had to switch, and then the bell rang again, and then they literally moved to the next table, like literally like speed dating. It'll be virtual, so we as a team will have to figure out exactly how to manage that for the groups. But that one is the only one, but we haven't officially claimed it as that. So, and I'm sorry guys, there's just been a ton of moving parts this semester with this virtual environment. So I know it sounds like we probably don't know what we're talking about, but I promise you we've spent a ton of time working on this semester for you guys.
So I don't know if Blake is still on, but hopefully that answered his question. And I agree. That's also sounds like a really fun event because it's not very long committed, right? A couple of minutes and you can start over.
Yeah. Yes. No, it is really fun. And I just want our partners to see how amazing you guys are. You guys are all so good. So it will be nice to have a good attendance for that one in particular. Okay, was there other questions?
Stacy, you had a question, right?
Yes, I guess my question was, where do I find this form for non-BAP hours?
So you're gonna have to bear with us. It is, I think, on the website as a PDF or a Word document, but I've had some students say because of being remote and not having like a scanner or those kind of abilities, that we are going to try to build out a form, and it won't be there today, but I'm sure within the next week we can get this done, to where you can just like submit something online versus having to like print it, fill it out, and scan it and return it back.
Is it going to be like in the KSU BAP section, or is this going to be someplace different, to find the form?
So, Katie, are you familiar, or Haley, or is Yui on? That's familiar with our website enough, our brand new website, to where we could share a screen and show them where they're located?
It's at ksubap.com/resources. I'll share it in the chat.
I can do it, Peter, while you're working on room spots. I got you.
Okay. Okay.
You keep
And
you keep
Stacey,
doing what.
I love that you're asking so early about non-BAP forms, which means you probably have something you've already done to add to it, but most people submit them really late. Like the 11th hour of the last day is when I get those. So you're always ahead of the game, but this just shows you're ahead of the game.
Well, in July, I donated blood. Now I'm not going to be eligible again for another, I think it is like 3 months maybe. So I might have like missed my window to at least, get hours for that. It's okay if it's just been a couple weeks. Okay.
Okay.
So how do they get credit for BUSA?
Yeah, that was the question I was looking at. So the credit for BUSA is going to be done in an Excel report that we will submit to BUSA. And so that means that, Katie, as you finalize the attendance for each meeting, you can send it to me and then I will make sure it gets sent in the correct spot.
Okay.
Good question, though. There was a question about graduation wear and the banquet on here, and I may be going out of order now because this chat is like so long. But the graduation wear, like the stole that you get, we normally hand out during the banquet. And so what we can do, since the banquet will be virtual, is we could mail those to y'all, or you can pick them up from the office at the end of the semester. So I'm still going into the office, well, currently, as of right now. And we have student assistants there that can help distribute. So we'll find a way to get you the stoles or the cords that you decide to do. Even if we are virtual, we'll find a way.
Peter, are you still working on rooms?
Yeah, I have one more. Why, what's up?
Oh, no, I just see 2 hands still raised.
Yeah, Austin, Jeremy, I sent you both a link. Let me know if you don't get it.
Ooh, Shannon, would you mind pulling up that star information?
Okay.
Yeah. Amanda, you had a question that said, because we're assigned times, how early should we jump in? Or you're talking about like for your actual resume review time? Yeah, Billy answered me. You're not muted, but I still can't hear you, friend.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that was the problem. So yeah, Billy answered me. He told me like 2 to 3 minutes early, and then just to stay muted until, they're all good to go. So
okay, perfect.
Thanks.
Blake asked, if you're not participating in the resume review, should you stay on this call or is the meeting over? That's a great question. I'm going to let Katie take it since she's our hour counter.
So we will just be here to answer questions. This was only supposed to be 2 to 3 to answer questions and spend a few minutes with recruiters. But if you do take off a little bit early, just remember that you're missing those minutes. This isn't officially a meeting anymore. We're just making sure we're available to you to answer your questions about what we're offering. And then you're good to go. Good luck, Jeff, if you haven't gone already.
So I posted in the chat the link to bap.org/BAP Community Impact, and then you'll go down where it says annual meeting, then community service, Stars of Hope, and those are the directions to download and print your Star of Hope or create a digital one and how you're going to submit it.
And then do they need to tell us that they did that so that we can give them credit, Katie? Because if they're submitting it directly to KPMG, which you guys, I really want y'all to all do this star. Like I need to do it right now. Like if you're still on the call and don't have anything to do right this second, do it. Because KPMG actually extended the deadline just for KSU, which I think is super cool. So we should definitely participate, but I think we need to find a way to count this.
Yeah, so if this might be a BAP sanction, so it would technically be BAP hours, but if we're participating in this, I won't know unless you submit to me through the KSU BAP reporter that we are participating individually on this. So because it's going through Nicole and Professor Shoemate, and it's a part of this program, it will be BAP hours. But I do need to know.
I'm not muted.
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. And then this is another question for you, Katie, that came through the chat, and I don't know if we've answered it yet or not. And it's an awesome question, and I would love for us to find a way. I don't think we currently have a way, but it asks, are we going to have a way to see our hours throughout the semester? And so I wish we had a way in this wonderful new website that we have to figure out a way to do that, because that would keep your drama a little less, right?
Yes.
You wouldn't have to be answering so many emails and like having to share the hours constantly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would mean creating a portal or a password protected file that's shared on here, or not sure, but maybe we could think through a way.
Yes, let's go with the think through a way, and let the board think about it. I don't want to be the only one who makes that decision, but I'm not updating it constantly, that Excel. Right. I'm only updating it, once every couple of weeks or so. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. But also we want to make sure information that shouldn't be shared with everyone isn't shared with everyone. So
right, that's what I'm thinking too. But so let's put that on like a little agenda item for our team at some point to get back together on, because I do like the idea of you not having to constantly have to filter through the questions.
Well, it was tricky last semester because just because the way things rolled out, so it became much more of a conversation than it should have been, because we saved a lot of community service for later in the schedule, and then later in the schedule we went off campus, so it turned into a bigger to-do. So we're hoping with all of the virtual opportunities we're offering that it will be a little bit easier, but I agree with you.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Holly, you had your hand raised. You, I think, had your resume reviewed, didn't you? No?
Everyone froze. Oh no.
I'm still here.
I'm here.
I'm back.
Oh, good.
How did that go?
I had my, I did the resume thing. It went okay. Good. It wasn't too bad. I have my resume looked like the one that you pulled up because you used that last year. So
yeah, that's my standard. If you saw the date, it was 2017, sadly.
Oh, on it. But I did miss. So this can be used for BUSA 4150.
Correct. Yeah. Maybe I don't know if 4150 has student organization as a way to check a box, then yes. So
okay.
I'm in
so just kind of go through and see.
Yeah, and I'm really close. I'm working very closely with the Hughes program this year because we have our own accounting badge now. I don't know if you guys have kind of gotten that message, which is kind of cool. So I've been really involved with trying to get all the events up there, and so it should be a very meaningful BUSA fall. Like a fall semester for BUSA should be way more meaningful than in the past. So I'm hoping that. But I will be submitting our attendance to them for credit where it applies. And I don't know if it's 3150 or 4150, but.
Okay, cool. And then as far as the service stars that y'all were talking about, that we have the extended week and everything, that is the bap.org, BAP/community/impact.
Yes.
Okay.
That
I
is
just wanted
it.
to make sure.
And you can do a virtual star. It says like there's instructions on there how to create one. And if you do that, you're going to send it to KPMG through like the real directions. But you also need to tell Katie through the KSU BAP reporter email that you did it so that she can give you credit for it.
Yes. Okay. Sorry,
So
I had
kinda two
missed all of those while I was doing my resume thing, so I know that y'all are repeating things. I'm sorry.
We don't mind. We knew that people were in and out. Not a problem.
I actually missed what you were saying about the stars as well. I came in right after that. What? Fill me in on that.
You want to talk a little bit about it?
I can read it to you.
Okay.
Is it on your website somewhere?
It's on the BAP.org website.
Oh, .org.
BAP is collaborating with the nonprofit Stars of Hope, which empowers people of all ages to transform individuals and communities in need of hope through the power of art and messages of healing. And so you're actually going to like make a star that's pretty and has maybe a a saying on it, this too shall pass or something. And then they're going to pull them all together and make some big, really cool thing to give to nursing homes.
Awesome. Okay, so it's on this website here somewhere.
And Nicole, the website has been updated, so it's not just us. The deadline's been extended. The website now says August 28th.
Oh, good. Oh,
So,
that's fantastic.
Yes, that is good.
Because I was feeling a little pressure.
I know I was too. We mentioned it at the beginning of our meeting.
I'm like, oh gosh.
So Liz, I do want to say that will count as BAP community service hours, which will count towards those requirement goals that we're looking to meet. So you'll just have to submit to that email that you're doing it so I can give you some credit for it, but it will count towards your requirements.
What's it under on that website, BAP.org?
You go to,
there's a link in the chat, Liz. If you go down, I know the chat is full of junk, but there's
my chat went away.
So you gotta push.
I don't know where
hover on the middle of your screen and this little black bar will show up, right? Where you mute and unmute. And then the third item from the right-hand side is conversation. And that shows your chat. And it's full, so you're going to have to go. But Shannon Shoemate posted the BAP.org/BAP Communities Impact Zone.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
And
We're
then
all
you
trying to figure this out.
Once you get on that page, you'll scroll down to the annual meeting community service activity /Stars of Hope.
Does it say how many hours that counts towards on that website, Professor?
It does
Shoemate?
not. Mm-mm.
Do we have any idea?
I think we should talk about that
separately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So that sounds good. Billy, will you be sending on a separate email about this since we only have an additional week to our perspective?
Yeah. Honestly, that'd be way more better than just like flipping my camera and showing you.
I am looking at your camera. That's why I know you're on top of this. So we'll send out an email and then we can discuss separately how much it'll be worth.
Well, maybe before we send the email, we can stay on maybe after the meeting for just 1 second and make a decision so that Billy can send it out and include like what that will be. I mean, you know, people are searching for these virtual community service hours, and here's one, you know?
Yeah. And a fun one.
Yeah. And it came from BAP and KPMG. So like we really are like filling all the box there. I want to see what the virtual one entails. Because maybe we need to look, Katie, look at what you actually have to do, because that might help us decide on how much time.
Exactly. I mean, because this is the first I've heard of it.
Well, so it came through the annual conference. So when we did the virtual annual conference, which by the way was very strange. Oh, there it is, Billy. He's got a star. Okay.
Okay, I think I have my number in my head.
Yeah, it's I created Hope for, and then you write like, I guess, what's passionate to you, what you've done, and then you color in the star, I guess. And then there's KPNG.
Yeah, I don't know that we need a
download.
separate conversation to say that that's 1 hour worth.
Yeah.
It's simple. Something easy.
Well, I
quick,
don't
in
even
an
know if
hour.
y'all were going to give an hour for it, but I guess if you consider all the emails that are going to go in too, you got to email them and.
Sure. So an hour.
And it says share it on social media. So if you guys have some pretty ones that you've done, send them to me, and then I can give them to Bria so that we can post it on our social media that we did it too.
All right,
We
Haley,
could
you got to do it
probably-
now.
Oh yeah, we could probably do with the prettiest, nicest star. We could probably give them an extra hour or two as incentive.
That is a good incentive. We should give them like a half an hour, like a little bonus, a bonus clip. Yeah, I like it. So then when you make your email, you've got to put that in there, Billy, that the best, prettiest, nicest will, and so they need to send their star to Katie.
Does anybody else have any questions while we're all hanging out?
I got one because several of my students are here. How did 4100 go, do you think? Were you okay?
I thought it went well. I even liked the way that you went through your Excel by unhighlighting it, but I'm always that person that has to have it written out so I can highlight and write all over it.
Most everybody is.
Yeah, but I liked how it went. I thought it went well.
Hey, this is Bria.
It was
Sorry, I
good.
haven't been talking, but I really enjoyed it. I actually live with Kennedy, so
Yeah.
we were both like in class, like asking each other questions and stuff. So it was kind of cool.
That's cool.
And I didn't see a kid or a dog the whole second video. So.
Is that the advanced financial
Yes.
course? Okay. I'm looking forward to taking that next semester.
Yes.
So I have a random question, and this is for the techie people in the room, is how would I take this PDF document and color it so that I have a virtual star? How do I virtually color it without printing? Does anybody know?
I think you have to.
Are you just wanting to change the background color, or are you just wanting to like color over text?
I think you need to print it out and then upload it. Like take a picture with your phone and make it a JPEG.
But what if, I don't have a printer in my house?
Well, you
That's
need
what I
to.
was thinking too, is that it would be manual, right? You'd print it out and then you would scan it back in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it says use crayons, colored pencils, markers, glitter, stickers.
I was trying to get real fancy with it. You know how sometimes, I know this is I'm really gonna date my age, so don't judge me, because y'all should love me. But you know how like on some of the social media on like Insta, you can like color and put little things. I was wondering if I could like virtually color my guy.
Is it a PDF?
Yes.
Okay, so I use Zodo, which it's just XODO, and I pretty much never print anything. You can type over PDFs. There should be a little editing tool in there as well.
What is it?
Is
Tell
it
me
an
one more
app
time.
or a
I'm gonna-
website?
It is an app. You can download it on your computer or whatever, but it's XODO and it's free. So yeah, that one's pretty good.
And I literally just found it for free on my thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Cool. See, I knew if I asked the random question, somebody would have an answer.
Also for students, like the first semester I was at KSU, one of my professors told us about Cam Scanner. So that's another one for any students that don't have a printer or need anything to be converted to a PDF. You can pretty much use Cam Scanner, which is also free.
I need to write that one down.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do.
With all of us going virtual, these virtual resources are going to be so helpful. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, now I got 3 of them to download. Kennedy just said Genius Scan.
Oh, really? See, but I mean, who knew all these things were out there? That's cool.
Our students.
Right. That's why we asked them. Y'all keep me young. I like it.
I have this fake background behind me because in reality, my son's on the floor behind me playing Xbox.
No way.
Yeah, he is.
What's he playing?
What are you playing right now? A new game called Hyperscape. And then he teaches y'all something new.
I mean, see, it just keeps going.
It's a cycle.
I have to say, I'm so hooked on Animal Crossing. I'm not going to play anything else for a while. That thing's a time suck.
Oh no, don't tell me about it. I don't need it anymore.
Animal Crossing, I've been playing that for like 10 years.
Are you on the new one? I got the Switch for my birthday so I can play.
Oh, nice.
Animal Crossing took up like the entire beginning of my summer.
Yes, right? So you have to be very careful because you could really burn yourself out, but my town is looking real nice. So I still need peaches, so if anybody wants to be my friend, hit me up and group me. So
I bought my fiance a Switch for her birthday.
Yeah.
And her town looks amazing, and I just got on there just to see what's like. So she has this big old house on her land, and then I have a tent.
Yeah. Mine too. I'm in a
belong.
mansion. I got that basement.
Yeah, hers looks immaculate, and then you look at mine that's right next to hers.
Yeah. Ugh, what a waste of time. But you need something. It was really stressful this summer, so you need something. Anyways.
I'm boring. I delete all of my games whenever I'm taking classes so that I don't get distracted. And I took summer classes, so I didn't get to do anything fun.
I took I did too. I took summer classes, but all my little, what do they call them, NPCs were like, slow down, Katie, you're running too fast. Because I'd be like running around trying to get all my things done. Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. How did that class go that you said you had to write a research paper for? Or how'd the paper go?
Good. It went okay.
I'm glad the paper's over. Got it done.
Yes. I have to say, all of my classes, I'm a little bit worried because they're just so many 4,000 level classes this semester. I really got to organize myself. Right, Madeline? You know what's up.
Well, I think everybody's having to organize because some days you go to the classroom, some days you don't, some day, you know what I mean? It's like, and I think every professor is using a different platform to do their classes.
Yeah.
Shannon, what did you end up deciding to use for yours?
Right now I'm on Collaborate Ultra.
Okay.
But we're just going to see
I like
how
Collaborate
well.
Ultra the best.
I'm just worried about live streaming next week in class.
I'm curious to see how it'll work out, especially if, like, I think you said you were going to teach, I don't remember if it was you or one of the others, said you're going to teach the same thing both days as a test run. But the question is, how much material will we miss if we are in class on one day and then teaching 2 separate things, both days? But I heard that the school is going to get Zoom. Is that true, Nicole?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so bizarre.
Can we have Zoom for BAP? Because Zoom works better.
Yes, for sure. And so I want to use it for BAP. And the dean was the one that told us it was coming. Well, so then I reached out to our RIT team, And they were like, yeah, supposedly it's coming. None of us have heard anything about it. So even our IT like service department still has not heard what that's going to look like. My guess is because Georgia Southern actually had Zoom from the get-go, like in spring. And so my guess is that USG as a whole, right, all of the schools purchased a license for it, and we will get access to whatever they purchased. And I'm assuming it's just they don't have all their ducks in the row yet to like put it off, because you got to think like the troubleshooting, the people that aren't familiar are going to have 100 questions, so they've got to train all their people to be ready for it to roll out. So my guess is it's coming, but
yeah.
Okay, so I'm in this XODO or whatever that she told me so that I could color my star. And guess what? It's working.
Show us your star before you send it. Yeah.
Well, I haven't done any of the coloring yet. Just let me get let me get
work
some
together.
Come on, Nicole.
I know, right? Oh. It has an eraser function. Oh no. I think you're probably right. It's probably best to print it out.
Some of this glitch had to get in
Break.
third person. But you have to be standing still. Like you just.
I may have my 5-year-old daughter color it for us.
So I'm sorry, Katie, if we print it out and color it, how do we mail it to you?
Well, then you got to take a picture of it or scan it, and
okay.
then you send it to her electronically, because you'll have to send it to KPMG electronically too, I think.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So a real 3-dimensional one is probably like not a good idea.
Yeah, probably not.
I watched a video, and I haven't been able to find it, but they showed a video on the annual meeting of a bunch of people that had already created them, and they had 3D ones. You know, they were putting it like on a little stand, and there were some really cool ones.
Yeah, the trend, like they're like big wooden star, they're like paper mache, anything you can make it out of, something creative, something meaningful. So just take the picture of it, and you can send it to KPMG.
So that could be fun too. Peyton could cut a bunch of little pieces of paper and then glue it into the star.
Pieces of toilet paper roll.
You know, you shouldn't do that. Toilet paper was a hot commodity at one point, friend. Use tissue paper.
I was talking about the roll, you know, the brown roll.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, actually, to be honest with you, I called Shannon. We talked early on in the pandemic, and I'm like, girl, I just spent almost $400 at the grocery store because I panic bought all these things. And then she called me back not too long after that and was like, I just did the same thing.
I was going to ask you guys, I had a phone interview, a very good phone interview for an internship with Novagradic. Are any of you guys familiar with that with that company? What are your thoughts on them?
So they are not a partner of ours, so I honestly don't have as close of a relationship with them. I do know that they have some alumni over there that are really big KSU supporters. They are a much smaller office, and if I remember correctly, I think their main focus is tax. Does that sound accurate?
It sounded like they did both. But I haven't, I just met with her for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And then she had me sign up for the full 2-hour type interview. So I'll be doing that next Friday. And and I'll of course figure out some more there. But yeah, it sounds like they did
They must
everything.
be making a pretty big push on KSU students because you are the 5th student this week that has asked me about them.
Oh, okay.
So I'm guessing they're trying to pick up some traction with our students, which is awesome. And I will say they have an alumni base there, so that could make things feel pretty good there. I don't think I don't think there's any harm in exploring if the fit fits you. My personal opinion and what I tell every student, it doesn't matter what I think about them. It's really what do you want and does the company match what you want,
Yeah.
So I'd support you on whatever you decide based off of that,
Yeah. So there are other people at KSU that are currently working there now?
Yes.
Maybe I'll try and reach out to them.
So, yeah, go on their website under the individuals. A lot of the times they will have like where they went to school. I'm trying to think of her name. Here, let me look. I'll look in my email real quick, and if I have her email address, I will give it to you. And you can just say, Nicole said you were an alumni, and I just wanted to chat and get some more information.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Billy, are you answering these chat questions? Because I saw some come in.
See you, Nikki.
I'm trying to. However, I don't know the answers to some of these as well. Really quickly, how will I get the email of everyone who participated? Because I know we had to send out individual links as well.
On the top.
I don't think I understand the question. Can you repeat your question?
I'm going to draft up the Stars of Hope activity and send it over to everyone. However, how can I get the email of everybody who was in the info session?
So this is a good question. I think we're going to have to work together with Peter and Katie.
Well, we need to send it to everybody.
I think you need to send it to the application list.
Yeah.
Along with the people that attended this meeting. So we may have to combine 2 spreadsheets and then remove dupes or whatever to get that list. Peter, can you help them with that?
Yeah, I will.
I was going to say I updated the applications list at noon today in our SharePoint, Billy. So that should get you a good running start at it. But Peter's been pulling the participation in this meeting. So we'll just need to figure out who's not in our application pool and make sure they get access to it. We can also drop this on the website too, I guess, for anybody who may fall through the cracks, so they'll still have access to it. Nicole, I wanted to ask you, since the career fair is virtual this year and I already have a spring internship, are there going to be any volunteer opportunities? Probably not. Yeah.
There actually will not be. But if you need some volunteering time or would like some, I may need a few people to run the backside of the Internal Audit Awareness Day. So
Thursday.
Thursday. If you're not, I'm just throwing it out there. So the weird part is we are having to manually move the employers among the groups. So like, kind of like what I was describing for the meet and greet for BAP. What we're doing for the awareness day is we're breaking the students out into groups. There will be an employer in each group. Well, then instead of moving the students, we're just going to cycle the employers through the students. But it's in Collaborate Ultra, and we are on the backside going to split the employers up and have to manually move them. There's going to be some problems with this, of course, but so if somebody really wants some volunteering opportunity, that could be something, but that's next Thursday. So
I have a full day, I'm afraid. Professor Shoemate's one of those.
Liz, I'm about to send you a private message inside of Teams with the girls and the alumni from Novogradac. Her name is Lori, and I'm going to just send you this message with her email so that you can message her if you want. And if you're not familiar, you can go to the left-hand side, second button down, it says chat. You're muted, so if you said something, I didn't hear you, dear.
Yeah, this is like, okay, so left-hand side, the chat.
Well, so there's two, there's on the left-hand side of your Teams screen, there should be activity, chat, Teams, assignment, calendar, calls, and files. If you click on the chat, it should pop up my personal message to you.
Oh, you know what? I wonder, is she the person?
Oh, maybe she is the person.
She might be the person that I'm meeting with.
Oh, well then good. You can just say that you talked to me.
That Lowry seems very, if I can get into my email. Got so many things open, I can't think straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think she's actually the person that I'm going to be meeting with.
Cool.
So that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, Lowry.
So she is a KSU alum.
Yay.
Yep.
Something to talk about right off the bat.
Yep. That's good.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You think something went wrong? Lewis, are you okay?
Well, maybe he's done with all of his meetings. Peter, about what time was everybody supposed to wrap up?
About now, actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think the last one might have been at like 3:54. So, why do you ask?
It looks like Luis joined us back.
Oh, okay.
That picture of him in that wig is just cracking me up. And for anybody that doesn't know, Luis is a KSU alum, a ginormous supporter of us, like financially, time, community service, you name it, he has done it. And he's the managing partner at Cherry Becker. So if you need to know a bigwig in a company, he's your guy.
I wouldn't say any of those things, and my wife wouldn't either. So I'm just along for the ride. It's not me. It's our people. Our people are who make us successful. So, just kind of like the food fight, right? We more than tripled year over year our involvement and our contributions in a year where it's been tough for a lot of people. So again, I'd point back to the people we have here as being the success. I'm just lucky enough to somebody made the mistake of putting me as partner in charge.
Well, so I have to talk to you about specifically two students from our MAC program. One student wants to go to Austin and one student wants to go to Nashville. And so when they came to me and started chatting with me, I'm like, well, what firms do I know in those areas? And yours is the one that came to mind. Yeah, so I'm meeting with them next week, and I'm going to try to give them Kayla's contact information so that they can start chatting with you guys as a possible opportunity for when they finish the MAC.
And then remember also Abby. So Abby did her undergrad at Georgia, but she's doing her MAC at Kennesaw, and she accepted. So she went through we had to take on Survivor Island called Intern Island. That's how we did our virtual summer internship this year. So Abby also could be a resource for them to talk to them about how it was on her experience on Internship Island, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, no, I will. So it's been weird because I was on quarantine because my daughter was exposed to a COVID case. So I didn't even get to see them during the MAC orientation. And then I went and saw them this week for the very first time. And I'm telling you, it's strange with the mask. And yeah, so it's going to take me a couple weeks to like wrap my arms around.
Yeah, we've gone full now, right? So we send out our care packages. We have our Cherry Becker masks and all right, and our, like everybody, right? Our Cherry Becker hand sanitizer. The giveaways are much different this year.
Oh yeah, well, and KSU is not allowing us to give anything away anywhere. We just did an info table, and they couldn't give anything away.
Right.
So we're setting up care packages for all of our BAP students, and they're gonna come pick them up, or we're gonna have to mail them. And it's just crazy.
Yeah, we'll have to. Well, I think we'll need to have a discussion about it. I don't know, because we have care packages too. So you're gonna have to give me all the guidelines on what we can do with students and what we can't.
Well, I think you guys can do anything if you send them directly to the student. If it tries to come through our office, that would be the hard part. Is they're just trying to limit, the contact in the office in the transition.
Got it.
And guess what I have for you that I'm gonna put in the mail next week? A KSU mask.
All right. Well, I'll wear it on the next event. So now it'll be good. Like I said, even without it being a focus, we do have a handful of KSU grads here already. So, yeah. So just reach out with Kayla. Austin's a pretty big office. It's 100 plus now. Nashville's 100 plus, and that Nashville's office, actually both offices are pretty cool. So Nashville's office is right on the river, and you can overlook and you see the stadium. It's not a couple blocks from Broad Street, so it's not a bad place to go when you're young.
Yeah, no, that's why so I asked them like point blank, I'm like, so why do you want to go to Austin? And he's like, because it's cool. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, stay weird, right? And
yeah, that's their slogan.
Right. And Aaron's down there too, so So Apple, right? So Apple's the finance.
Oh, yes, he is. No, now
Right.
now I'm
Apple's
following.
finance people are in Austin. So, all right. Well,
I think we're done. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
It's almost 4:00. Do we have any students in any of the other rooms? Can Billy or Haley, can y'all leave our room for just a second and check the other rooms real quick? Do you know how to do that or?
All right. Well, thanks for having us. We'll see you guys in the virtual world.
Okay.
Thanks for helping us.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Haley looks like she's literally walking into the other room.
Yeah. Haley, where are you walking?
I am walking. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My computer's glitching and I think it's about to die, but I can't see anything right now. I'm surprised it hasn't died.
Okay, I'm gonna check the other rooms. I will be right back.
Okay.
Wait, can someone also tell me how to do that so that I can do it next time, because I'm not familiar with Teams? Do y'all know?
Yeah, if you click calendar.
Calendar? Oh, and then click it that way. Okay, just kidding.
Mm-hmm. And then it should say, you see it now?
Yes, just click on those. Oh, okay. Makes sense.